close your eyes for a second. I want you to picture a moment that feels like the absolute peak of your life. It's a sunny day in May. You are wearing a heavy, awkward polyester gown. There is a square cap sliding off your head, and you are walking across a stage. You shake the dean's hand. You grab that diploma. You look out into the crowd, and you feel invincible. Why wouldn't you? You have a 4.0 GPA. You mastered calculus. You analyzed Shakespeare. You memorized the periodic table. You did everything the system told you to do, and you did it perfectly. You are, by every metric you've ever been given, a success. Now, fast forward 6 months. You are sitting in a leasing office for an apartment complex. It's not a penthouse, it's just a decent place close to your new job. You're wearing your best interview clothes. You've got that diploma framed in a box somewhere. And the leasing agent looks up from her computer screen, frowns, and says, "I'm sorry, we can't approve your application." You're confused. You tell her, "But I was valedictorian. I have a degree in engineering. I'm smart." And she looks at you with a look that isn't mean, but it is pitying. She says, "That's great, but your credit score is 580. We need a guarantor or you can't live here." That moment right there, that is the freight train of reality hitting the graduation illusion. It is the moment you realize that for the last 16 years of your life, you were playing a game where you thought the score was your GPA, but the real world is keeping a completely different score. It's a score they never mentioned in homeroom. It's a score that doesn't care if you know when the War of 1812 happened. It's a mystical 3-digit number that determines where you sleep, what you drive, and ultimately how much of your hard-earned money you actually get to keep. Welcome to the invisible grade, the one that actually matters. Today, we aren't talking about being book smart. We're talking about why the smartest students often become the poorest adults, simply because they ignored the one number that controls their financial destiny. I know what some of you are thinking. You're thinking, okay, so maybe I can't get the fancy apartment right away. I'll just pay cash. I don't like debt anyway. Why does this number matter if I just want to live a simple life? That is a beautiful sentiment. It really is. But unless you have $500,000 sitting in a duffel bag, you cannot escape the math I'm about to show you. This isn't just about getting approved or denied. This is about the stupidity tax the system charges people with low credit scores. Let's look at a scenario that happens every single day in this country. Let's take 2 people. We'll call them Sarah and Mike. Sarah and Mike are identical on paper. They have the same job, the same salary, the same down payment savings. They both want to buy the same house. Let's say it's a standard home priced at $500,000. Mike was the academic star. He didn't think credit cards were important, so he missed a few payments here and there, or maybe he just never built any history. His credit score is a 650. It's not terrible, but it's not great. Sarah, on the other hand, treated her credit score like a second job. She's sitting at an 800. They both go to the bank. The bank smiles at Sarah and gives her the prime rate. Let's say, for this example, it's 6%. But when they look at Mike's 650 score, the smile fades. They see risk, so they offer him a 7.5% rate. Now, 1.5%, it sounds tiny. It sounds like a rounding error. You might think, who cares about 1.5%? Let's run the numbers over the life of a 30-year mortgage. Because of that tiny percentage difference, Mike's monthly payment is nearly $500 higher than Sarah's. $500 every single month for 30 years. When you add that up over the life of the loan, Mike ends up paying nearly $100,000 more for the exact same house. Let that sink in. $100,000. What is $100,000? It's a brand new Tesla Model S paid in cash. It is a down payment on a rental property that could pay you for the rest of your life. It is 4 years of college tuition for your child. It is 5 years of early retirement. Mike didn't lose that money because he wasn't smart. He didn't lose it because he was lazy. He lost $100,000 simply because of a 3-digit number he didn't prioritize. That is the penalty. That is the cost of ignoring this invisible grade. When you hear numbers like that, you should be angry. You should be asking, if this is so important, if this is a $100,000 decision, why didn't anyone tell me? This is where we have to talk about the massive failure in our education system. We have a systemic blind spot that is frankly dangerous. Recent studies suggest that nearly 75% of students graduate from high school or college without a basic understanding of credit scores. Think about that. 3 out of 4 graduates enter the workforce financially illiterate regarding the metric that will define their access to housing and capital. It's absurd when you compare it to other areas of our society. Think about what we require licenses for. To drive a car, you need a license. To cut hair, you need a license and hundreds of hours of training. To go fishing in a public lake, you need a license. But to sign a student loan document worth $50,000, $80,000, or $100,000, we hand a pen to an 18-year-old who has never paid an electric bill and say, "Sign here, don't worry about the details." We are letting teenagers sign legal contracts worth more than luxury cars without teaching them what an interest rate is, or what a debt-to-income ratio means, or how a missed payment stays on your record for 7 years. 7 years. If you mess up your credit at 19, you are still paying for it when you're 26. You are dragging an anchor behind you before your race has even started. School taught you to solve for X, but they never taught you that if you don't solve for your credit utilization rate, X equals being denied a car loan. School taught you that the mitochondria is the powerhouse of the cell, but they didn't teach you that your FICO score is the powerhouse of your financial life. It's a systemic setup. We are churning out workers, not wealth builders. We are creating a generation of people who are academically brilliant but financially fragile. And until we acknowledge that gap, the banks will continue to profit off our ignorance. So how do we fix this? How do we stop being victims of this system and start mastering it? The first step is to change how you view the banks and the credit bureaus. A lot of people think banks are just being mean. They think, "I'm a good person, why won't they lend me money?" But you have to understand, credit is not a judgment of your character. The bank doesn't care if you volunteer at the animal shelter. The bank doesn't care if you're funny or kind. Credit is a calculation of risk. That is it. It is cold, hard data. Think of it like a reverse golf score. In golf, you want the lowest score possible. In credit, the lower your score, the higher the risk you represent. And in the financial world, risk is expensive. When you have a low score, let's say a 500 or 600, you are waving a giant red flag that says, "I am statistically likely to not pay you back." So the bank protects itself. How? By charging you more. They charge you higher interest to cover their potential losses. But when you have a high score, a 780 or 800, you are telling the bank, "I am a sure thing. I am boring. I am reliable." Banks love boring. Banks love reliable. And because you are low risk, they compete for your business. They offer you the VIP treatment, 0% financing on cars, the lowest mortgage rates in history, premium credit cards with travel perks that pay for your vacations. This is the philosophy you need to adopt. Your credit score is your leverage. A low score means you work for the bank. You are paying their salaries with your interest. A high score means the bank works for you. They are giving you capital at rock-bottom prices to help you build your life. It's the difference between financial servitude and financial freedom. And the crazy part, the rules of this game aren't hidden. They are actually very simple once you stop fearing them. Here is the good news. You do not need to be a genius to have an 800 credit score. You do not need a degree in finance. You don't need to be good at math. You don't even need to be rich. Building a perfect credit score is not a test of intelligence. It is a test of maturity. It is a test of consistency. The actionable pivot you need to make today is shifting from academic intelligence, where you cram for a test and then forget it, to financial consistency. What does that look like? It's simple, unglamorous habits. It means setting up autopay so you never ever miss a payment, not once. A single missed payment is like failing a final exam that stays on your transcript for nearly a decade. It means keeping your credit card balances low. If you have a limit of $10,000, don't spend $9,000. Spend $500. Pay it off. Repeat. You want to look like you don't need the money. Ironically, banks only want to lend money to people who look like they don't need it. It means not opening a new credit card every time you go to the mall just to save 10% on a pair of jeans. That's amateur hour. That tells the system you are desperate for credit. This is what separates adults from overgrown teenagers. An overgrown teenager ignores the mail. They swipe the card and pray it goes through. They treat money like it's magic. An adult treats their credit report like a garden. They water it, they weed it, they check it. It's not rocket science, it's patience. It takes time. You can't cram for an 800 credit score the night before you buy a house. You have to build it, brick by boring brick, month after month. But the reward for that boredom? The reward is options. The reward is walking into a dealership and dictating the terms. The reward is knowing that when you want to make a move in life, the door is wide open. So here is my challenge to you. Stop obsessing over the grades of your past. Nobody in the real world cares if you got a B- in chemistry in 10th grade. That part of your life is over. The scoreboard has been reset. I want you to start obsessing over your financial profile for your future. Tonight, I want you to go check your credit score. Don't be afraid of the number. Look it in the eye. If it's bad, acknowledge it. If it's good, protect it. Download a tracking app. Set up your autopays. Dispute errors on your report. Treat this with the same intensity you treated your SATs or your final exams. Because here is the truth. Knowing the quadratic formula will not help you avoid financial ruin. Knowing how to analyze a poem will not help you buy a home for your family. But mastering this 3-digit number, that is the key to the kingdom. That is how you stop surviving the system and start winning at it. Don't let the invisible grade fail you. You have the answer key now. Go fix your score.